So I want to talk about that lengthy tweet that Trump put out on December 9th, Tuesday. Let's talk about this real quick. So he starts off with this. There has never been a president that has worked as hard as me. My hours are the longest and my results are among the best. I've stopped 8 wars, saving many millions of lives in the process, created the greatest economy in the history of our country, brought business back into the United States at levels never seen before, rebuilt our military, created the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts ever, closed our open and very dangerous southern border when previous administrations were unable to do so, and created an aura around the United States of America that has led every country in the world to respect us more than ever before. In addition to all of that, I go out of my way to do long, thorough, and very boring medical examinations at the Great Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, seen and supervised by top doctors, all of whom have given me perfect marks. Some have even said that they've never seen such strong results. I do these tests because I owe it to our country. In addition to the medical, I have done something that no other president has done. On 3 separate occasions, the last one being recently, by taking what is known as a cognitive examination, something which few people would be able to do very well, including those working at the New York Times, and I aced all 3 of them in front of large numbers of doctors and experts, most of whom I do not know. I have been told that few people have been able to ace this examination, and in fact, most do very poorly, which is why so many other presidents have decided not to take it at all. Despite all of this, the time and work involved, the New York Times and some others like to pretend that I am slowing up, and maybe not as sharp as I once was, or I am in poor physical health, knowing that it is not true, and knowing that I work very hard, probably harder than I have ever worked before. I will know when I am slowing up, but it's not now. After all of the work I have done with medical exams, cognitive exams, and everything else, I actually believe it's seditious, perhaps even treasonous, for the New York Times and others to consistently do fake reports in order to libel and demean the President of the United States. They are true enemies of the people, and we should do something about it. They have inaccurately reported on all of my election results, and in fact, were forced to apologize on much of what they wrote. The best thing that could happen to this country would be if the New York Times would cease publication, because they are a horrible, biased, and untruthful source of information. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Lot to uncover there. So, I mean, this guy is like the biggest, braggadocious, egotistical, pain in the ass ever to sit in the disgusting place we call the White House. But in fact, he is the most honest representation of our power structure. And I know you're going to say, what? What are you talking about? He's a lying scumbag. He's evil. Yeah, man. He is exactly what our system is. I mean, is it? You people act like we need to get somebody who isn't like him, who's honest. Fool. Everybody who goes to Washington are the worst kinds of people who get attracted to that place. So Trump, as much as I can't stand him, is an honest representation of the idea of authority, government, and power. This is its true face, and this is what it will always be. But you see, there will be other people that will come in and they'll dress it up a little bit more, they'll make it look a little nicer, but at the end of the day, naked power is braggadocious, egotistical, narcissistic, and completely devoid of any reality. It crushes those that stand in its way. But I digress. He goes on this whole ranty thing about stopping 8 wars. When he was running for his second term, right? I do not remember a single thing about these 8 wars. All I remember is he talked about, oh, what happened with Ukraine was terrible. If I was in office, that wouldn't have happened. It's all because of Joe Biden. And yes, Joe Biden is definitely hugely responsible for what happened in Ukraine. But It is also the United States in general is responsible for what happened in Ukraine for the past 30 years or so. George H.W. Bush promised to Russia not one more inch forward, or whatever the fuck he said. They basically promised Gorbachev or whoever was in power at the time that the U.S., NATO would no longer encroach on their space. They wouldn't have Ukraine be a member. So we built it up. That's not to excuse Putin, though, either. He's also an authoritarian cocksucker who's using it as an excuse to kill innocent people. And no, the innocent people of Ukraine are not Zelensky and their government. No, I'm talking about the innocent Ukrainians who are actually fighting and dying. Like, those poor people. And the Russian people, like, but who have to go and fight for this. For what, man? So, no, yeah, Putin is I'm not going to be like one of these people who are like, oh, Putin is, you hear these Q people, right? Like, they say, Putin knows the plan. Putin is, these people are fucking bonkers, dude. Putin is just as corrupt and crazy and evil as any other authoritarian leader in power. But even more so because the Russians are very fucking tough. So he's like quadruple fucking like mean. But Zelensky, like, I know what Zelensky is as well. He's a phony bastard. He could care less about the people dying. He's even got a second place in Israel or something from what I heard. So if all goes bad in Ukraine, he'll just run away to Israel or whatever. And he doesn't give a damn about the people. He promised his people when he got in that he would allow the Donetsk and the there was two provinces of Ukraine. The people of that land, they wanted to just be a part of Russia because they spoke Russian. They didn't want to be considered Ukrainian, so they wanted to merge with Russia. But it's still ridiculous that both Putin and Zelensky have a war over this. And it's obviously more than that. They have some kind of New World Order goal, and it has nothing to do with the liberation of their people. Not at all. And I completely am sympathetic to the Ukrainians because I have read about the Holodomor, and I studied heavily into that. And on my old YouTube channel, I made a whole documentary. Like, I mean, it was 10 minutes, but it was a really good documentary about what the Russians did to the Ukrainians in the 1930s. I mean, you could find quotes of Trotsky saying, starve them, don't do anything until the mothers start eating their babes, or something like that. So they killed like 6 to 20 million Ukrainians. They starved them to death in like 6 months. So I understand that there's a section of Ukrainians that are hardcore hate the Russians. But I'm also aware that there's a neo-Nazi section that also exists in Ukraine. They have existed for a long time. I've read their history about that. I don't want to get too much into it because it's a hard subject, and a lot of people turn off to it because they just need the surface level stuff. Point is, I am always sympathetic towards the people. I am never sympathetic towards any authoritarians on either side who send people to be killed like lambs to the slaughter. And for what? So these powerful assholes could have another piece of land and brag about it, and they'd be like, oh, they could put me in the history books now. Oh, I don't even know what this shit's about, man. So that's another reason why I hate Trump, because I don't hate Trump. I hate that he lied and deceived everybody, and people are still putting him up like he's telling the truth. He said that he would end Ukraine on day one. Now, did I believe that he would end the Ukraine war on day one? Absolutely not. But I really thought that he had a good possibility to end it because, come on, let's be honest. How could you say that Kamala Harris would beat it? If you even believe in the left and right politics, though, this is all an illusion, right? But if you actually believe in what you're being told, how could you believe that Kamala Harris would have a chance to stop it when she was the vice president of Joe Biden while that whole Ukrainian war was going on? So that didn't make sense. So if you really cared about the Ukrainian people, you would think that they would have a better chance to have the war ended under Trump. But he completely betrayed that. And of course, Zelensky is not free of blame at all. Zelensky is a son of a bitch also. And Putin is a motherfucker. All three of them will be rotting in the darkest pits of hell. I feel so sorry for the Ukrainians. They went through so much shit. I mean, all the people they lost in the Holodomor, and now they're losing everything now. Everything. You know? It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And you know, if things would be happening like that to regular people like us, we would be having a horrible fate like that as well under these leaders. They would be dragging out a war. All of us would be losing our lives, and they'd be fucking playing reality of Housewives of Orange County while we're all like losing everything. Losing everything. So it makes me sick. They make me sick. Now, over that, like I said, there's a lot to go over on this one tweet. So he says that we created the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts. For whom? I might ask. For whom? Because there has been no tax cuts for regular people. Like the income tax for your property tax, for example, still stays the same. And if you're an older person, luckily, you could apply and half your taxes, right? But that has nothing to do with Trump. Like that's just in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, for example. That existed before he was second term. So, but if you're just a regular person, your property tax is still going to go up. So what taxes did he cut? Is he just talking about corporations? Could somebody tell me what he's talking about, please? And secondly, closed our open and very dangerous southern border, blah, blah, blah. The world respects us. Subjective, I guess they do. I don't know how you prove that. So yeah, then he goes on about his medical examinations, and it's like, you know, clearly he's trying to do the opposite of what the Biden's people were doing. I mean, look, if you're a Democrat and you're listening to this, like, how could you go on and not say that Joe Biden clearly had hardcore dementia or something? Like I see these Democrats just say he was so fit, he was on his bicycle and stuff, but it's like, look, no politics right now at this moment in time that I'm about to share. My grandma has Alzheimer's. It's a horrible experience. I mean, luckily she's very calm. She doesn't get angry. But she's like a total blank slate. Like, she's in the deep stages now. Very deep stages of Alzheimer's. I saw how Joe Biden was acting. Now, whether you're one of these people who think it was AI or not, right? And I think I did see some instances where I thought they were using AI for Joe Biden. I don't think we were seeing a real person sometimes. But whatever, right? That man clearly had dementia. Don't tell me he did not have dementia. Like this should not be a bipartisan issue. He had dementia. Now, Trump, say what you want about the guy, right? Maybe he has these weird gaffes and he says these things that absolutely make no sense, whether it's because they're using AI when they're showing him, or he's just so arrogant and so stupid he doesn't even think about what he talks, and he's 80-something years old now. Now, I live with old people, my grandparents, so for his age, if what we're seeing on TV of him is true, right? If it's not AI, which I suspect there's a lot of that going on, he's doing pretty good. He's pretty good. He's an asshole, but he's a smart asshole still. So yeah, like, I mean, this is just another distraction, though, from the AI issue, from the economy issue. It's just another distraction. And this whole, you know, saying that the New York Times is doing libel and treason. Hey, look, I'll be honest with you. If you went after the New York Times, I would not complain. I believe in freedom of speech, but let's be frank. The New York Times has supported wars, atrocities, genocides over the decades. They will get what they deserve if that was like we were talking about the Holodomor, for example. I'm pretty sure it was the New York Times, and they had a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, I forgot his name, who went to Russia during the Holodomor that I was talking about. And he came back to the United States and he says, oh, Ukraine under Russia, under Stalin's communism, everybody has bread, everybody's fed, everybody's doing well. He completely covered up the Holodomor. So, do I feel sorry for the New York Times if, as Larkin Rose aptly calls him, Mango Mussolini, if Mango Mussolini decides to do something to them, Am I going to complain about it? No. On principle, yes, you should, because once they go after them, they could go after us, yes. But the New York Times has been complicit in genocide, murder, rape, slavery, you name it. Like, they are not an honest journalistic company with any integrity whatsoever. And you will find them to support more wars in the future. I saw something by Caitlin Johnstone that said that they are supporting us ramping up more military spending to fight China. Like, we don't spend enough money on the military. There's the New York Times demanding that they take more taxpayer dollars and beef up our military. Like, they're not the strongest military in the world still so far, but they still need more, according to the New York Times. So you see, guys, you're not going to get a one-sided reaction from me on this. I see through all these guys. They're all full of shit. So you let me know what you think. This was a hefty one, but it was because it was a hefty tweet, and I wanted to talk a lot about that. So thanks for listening. Let me know what you think.